Question: should you include coax in your new construction home? Now, I get asked this question all the time, and a lot of times I do say no, but I will say it depends on your situation, and here is a couple reasons why you may want to include it in yours. It is just such a nice day in Nebraska that I decided to do my filming outdoors today. So that's why you're going to hear a little bit of background noise and everything. It's just glorious out. No wind, no nothing, which is kind of a rare top 10 day. So ultimately, when I get asked the question, should you include coax in your build? Normally, my immediate response that kind of pops in my head is no, but really it should be, it depends, because there are a couple very specific use cases where having coax in your house is very, very handy. And so today I wanted to cover a couple of those so you guys can incorporate in your build, because it is going to require a little bit of planning on your part during the construction phase. So the first solution I want to go over with you guys isn't a super popular one, but I feel it's worth mentioning on this channel, and that is if you plan on putting standard cable TV services or even satellite TV services in your new construction home. Now, when I built my house 7 years ago, this really wasn't part of the discussion. We didn't decide if we wanted coax or didn't want coax. It was just sort of included, and we just told our builder all the locations where we felt we might put a TV someday so he could go ahead and include the cabling in the walls. It was no big deal. However, just 7 short years later, coax is under a lot of scrutiny. I mean, do you even need it anymore with streaming and some of those situations? So I know a lot of people, when you go on the forums and stuff, they'll say, now, ditch coax. You don't need it. You'll never need it. That's why I wanted to create this video, because ultimately, I think it is up to you, the user, and how you plan on watching TV or even using the internet in your house will really drive this decision for you, because there are some use cases for them. And I think that coax and satellite TV is a very good use case. Ultimately, it has been my experience that a lot of these wireless set-top boxes that the cable providers install fall flat on their face. I don't think in general people are happy with them, although I do know that there are some cases where it does work okay and good for you. But ultimately, they will install some kind of wireless router in the house for the wireless set-top boxes to connect to, and then the set-top box only requires power. However, in large houses or houses that have a lot of different TVs, this really doesn't work very well, and I think if you went and researched it, you'll find that a lot of people were pretty upset at their set-top boxes, the wireless version. That's why I feel it's a good idea, if you plan on having cable TV or satellite TV, to go ahead and include the coax in the walls to each of your TV locations. This is going to give you a fallback option when the solution that the TV provider falls flat on its face. You will have the wires in the wall, and ultimately they would still most likely offer some kind of wired solution that you could have in your house, so at least the service works fairly well. I would add one additional drop though, and that would be to run a cable wherever all the coax is run in your home, from that location to the outside of your home where the internet provider or TV provider would bring their service in. I think a lot of times having that coax already in place is very, very beneficial and will allow the TV provider to use existing cabling that is already there, existing infrastructure, to bring their service. When these TV installers come in, one of the challenges they have to figure out is, how do I get my cable and my cable box to the right location in the home? By having a coax cable already installed, pre-installed, just sitting there waiting for them to use, this gives them an avenue to be able to connect their service. And so I always recommend including something like this if you plan on having these type of services. Now, to be fair and 100% transparent with you guys, I haven't had cable TV services in probably around 10 years or maybe even a little longer. So ultimately, some of the little ins and outs and special things that you can do in your new construction home might be lost on me, and I'm okay saying that. So that's why I'm going to throw it out to you, the viewer. If you guys built a house and you incorporated something that was kind of clever, either with your coax cabling or even with some future-proof tubing, that really helped you out as it pertains to cable TV or satellite TV, I encourage you, leave a comment. We are a community here. I want to help out my viewers, and in all honesty, sometimes I just don't have all the answers. I've helped a lot of people with their new homes, and we've done some of the steps outlined here in this first section of the video, but ultimately, if there's some other options I'm leaving off the table, I encourage you guys, leave a comment below and help out that community. Like I mentioned a little bit ago, we haven't used a standard TV service or a satellite TV service in probably over 10 years. Once we moved to streaming, we really never looked back, and we've been doing that for several years. When we built this house, we put Cat 6 cabling throughout to all the TV locations, like we promote on this channel, to ensure that our streaming services would continue to work very, very well. And they have. They've worked awesome. However, now that streaming is more the norm, it too is becoming more expensive to do, and it's caused us to kind of take a step back and decide, do we still need it? And that brings us to scenario number 2, which is planning for an over-the-air antenna. Now, one thing that really hasn't changed over the years is that HD antennas still do require a physical coax cable to be screwed into them. You can see the one going into mine, which is on the side of my house. So ultimately, I bring this up because when you're planning your new construction home, you need to plan for a location of where your HD antenna is going to go. Now, typically, putting them up high or even in an attic space is very popular because the higher they are, it allows them to see those antennas and ultimately bring you more channels or a stronger signal. So just understand that wherever you plan to put your antenna, you're going to need to run a cable to that location so it can be screwed into the antenna. Now, when I built my house, this wasn't even part of the conversation. I wasn't even thinking about an over-the-air antenna. So ultimately, I retrofitted a cable here, which I'm going to show you in just a sec. One of the TV locations that I had my builder pull coax to was my back deck. You can see the jacks right here, covered to protect them from the elements. And inside the left box there, I actually had data and coax. So for my case, I just elected to just extend that coax out of the box over around the side of my house in a nice, neat fashion over to my HD antenna. And this has allowed me to create my input cable, which I'll get to here shortly, as to delivering the service to the rest of my house. When you have a typical build that includes coax, generally speaking, that coax will run down to a single point in your home. In my case, this is my basement. You can see I have some coiled up there, and then I have all the cables ran into this box and terminated, and then this allows me to put a cover on this and make it a little bit more presentable, which is definitely something I recommend doing in your home as well. Now, ultimately, what I want to draw your attention to is this device in the box. This is an RF amplifier. You can buy these on Amazon, also known as a power splitter. And what this is going to do is it's going to take a single input, in our case, the antenna that is outdoors. We're going to add some power to it, which this is just going to a power outlet, and then we can amplify these 8 ports down here, which are run to our TV locations. This is going to allow us to use a single powered antenna to run to 8 different TVs. All right, Tim, but what does this mean if I plan on building a house and I want to mimic a solution like this? Guys, it's very, very simple. All it really means is that you need to tell your builder that he's going to want to include coax cabling to each of the TV locations, as well as where you choose to have your HD antenna. Make sure that all the cabling comes down to a central location so it can plug into a splitter. And don't worry about if you have more than 8 TVs, guys. You can daisy chain these splitters to add more TVs. That's not a big deal. You just might need a little bit bigger enclosure. Keep that in mind because coax is bulky and usually takes up a lot of space. But ultimately, that's all you would need to do to ensure that you can run a single antenna to all of your different TVs. However, before you get excited about this solution, I have one more. And ultimately, it's going to allow you not to run any coax to all your TVs, so make sure you pay attention. The second option I want to talk to you guys about, if you'd like to have an HD antenna in your house, is incorporating a device called the Tableau. Now, pretty cool little device, not very big. I just usually have it sitting here in my rack. But basically what this does is it allows you to take your over-the-air antenna and give yourself more of a cable TV-like experience. It receives a signal from our HD antenna. This cable right here is just run to that splitter I just showed you a minute ago. And then it also connects into the network. It can connect with a physical cable or it can connect via Wi-Fi. But because it sits in my rack, I have it physically connected. Once the device is online, you can use the Tableau app on any device that supports the Tableau app. And there are many of them out there, Fire Sticks, Roku's, Apple TV, all those. Smartphones typically support the Tableau app, and it allows you to watch your over-the-air programming through your network, which is really, really nice. In addition to that, there's a couple other really great features that you get. One, you get a really nice guide with metadata
and it can be your DVR. That's right, this device will even record your favorite shows. You can set up schedules so you never miss an episode of something, or maybe your favorite sports team. Kind of a neat little deal, and basically just kind of takes an HD antenna, a very simple device, and adds some really great features to it. Now there is a couple versions of this. This is and this is hard to say, this is the 2-tuner version. There's also a 4-tuner version. So if you plan on using the DVR feature, just maybe keep that in mind. Basically what that means is how many shows it can record at once. So if you have a 4-tuner version of this, it can record up to 4 shows at once. So if that's a feature you plan on using, you might want to elect to get more tuners. This one is the 2-tuner version. It was $159. One time, there's no subscription, no nothing. It is free to use after you purchase the device. So I really like this. I'll show you what the interface looks like upstairs, but it really has been a great way to kind of take that simple HD antenna to the next level. Let's go ahead and move over to the interface for Tablo, just so you guys can see what it looks like, see if it's something that maybe you'd want to incorporate in your home. We're going to be running this on an Amazon Fire Stick. Again, no physical coax connections behind this TV are needed to run Tablo. It just needs an active internet connection, and my Fire Stick is connected to our Wi-Fi. So I'm going to go ahead, I've already preset this up, so we're going to go ahead and click the Tablo TV app, and you can see it brings you in. You got a nice guide to look at, which is really nice. This is the home screen that it kind of brings you to, allows you to kind of search for some things here, trending things, kind of like a lot of streaming services have that kind of home screen that invites you to watch certain things. This is no different. I don't think I mentioned it, but the device itself has 128 gigabytes of storage. You can see I haven't used any of it. We're not big DVR people here, but ultimately if I was going to miss a show or maybe wanted to record a football game or something, I do have that availability right out of the box. I didn't have to add anything. In addition to that, if you are heavy DVR users, there's a USB port in the back that allows you to extend your storage, so you can plug in like a USB hard drive and extend that storage even more if that's important to you, okay? But you would access that through the library over here. Then you get your home. If you go to live TV, that's your guide. Gives you a really nice guide here, including some digital channels that just kind of come over the air, and then anything that has a number associated to it. You can see this is CBS 3.1. These are actually channels that were pulled in from the antenna. So this device does go out and scan for channels, and it's going to figure out how strong the signal is to those channels and everything. So these are the ones it came up with, and as you can see, it pulled that metadata down, so it allows me to see actually what's on these channels. If I click into one, it gives me kind of a little menu here. Do I want to schedule this as a recording? Do I want to watch live, or maybe just record this episode? Maybe I want to add this channel to my favorites. So kind of a nice deal there. Just really nice little menu to get around. And in addition to that, you can search by show, search by movie, news, and sports. So there's not a lot to it. It's a great little device. The interface is really good. I was going to throw something on here, but I got to be careful what I choose so I don't get in trouble. We definitely aren't going to do any live sports. Let me just throw in, let's see, let's go with Walker, Texas Ranger. So we'll go ahead and push that on. I'm going to just say, go ahead and watch this channel now. As you can see, it kind of pulls up a stream like streaming typically does. Usually just takes a second or so, depending on the channel. And there you can see the channel streaming just fine, right to your TV, right on the Fire Stick. So, like I said, just wanted to show you guys, it lets you see the interface a little bit. Remember, with this scenario, you really wouldn't need to pull coax cabling to all of your TV locations. They would just need a good network connection, again, which we highly promote on this channel. And ultimately, you would just need to have your HD antenna plug into the Tablo box itself, and the Tablo device would need to connect into the network. So you would want to plan your cabling accordingly to make sure that you could do all those things. Pretty simple. All right, guys, so there you have it. But the question remains is, should you include coax cabling in your new construction home? And really, that decision is 100% up to you. Do not leave it up to the internet trolls to make the decision for you. Hopefully, this video has at least got you thinking about some things so you could decide which scenario sort of maybe works best for you. Now, in my case, our TV watching needs are very simple, and we've just felt that streaming was very expensive, and it really wasn't worth it to us. So I'm certainly glad I had Coax here so we can incorporate a solution like this. I really do like the Tablo. It's worked very well for us. But ultimately, if you're going to have cable or you just have greater needs, you need those sports packages, I certainly understand that. Just make sure you wire your house accordingly. And again, just to recap a little bit, if you are planning on having a cable or satellite service of some kind, I strongly encourage you to go ahead and pull coax cabling to all of your TV locations. I just don't think the wireless set-top boxes work very well, and I don't want to see you have a bad experience when it's really not expensive and it's super easy to just go ahead and include it during the construction phase of your house. So ultimately, I'm hoping this gave you guys something to think about. I appreciate you guys watching and following me. I'm sorry I've been gone for so long. Actually had an injury that I was trying to get past where I crashed my bike and I hurt my shoulder, and so I was injured for a while, and then ultimately just busy with summer. So I'm going to try and get back into the grind of it. This is going to be my first video back, and then we're going to have some more on top of this. So thank you for watching. Thank you for following. As always, leave comments below. Let me know a solution you did in your house that helped you guys. We're all here to learn, and we all appreciate it. So thank you, and we'll see you guys down the road in the next video.